I'll be needle felting up a rabbit today. It's actually a rabbit from an anime series I've seen recently, and well, rabbits are my favourite animal. You can't really get much merchandise of them here, so I wanted to create my own. Anyway, I've started with a pre-made ball of wool, and I'll be adding a bit of core wool to it. This is just to generally make the ball a bit thicker, but also to change the shape of the ball a bit. I don't want it to be a perfect sphere after all. Next is going to be slightly weird to explain. The part where the cheeks and the mouth are is slightly extended out a bit, and the head itself is flat at the bottom. That would be hard to do with just a sphere, so I need to create a cylinder shape. Next, needle felt this sausage to the sphere. It does look a bit odd, but it doesn't need to be on too tightly because we'll be putting more core wool over the top of these two objects to make them merge together. It'll end up looking like one object. But this is also the purpose of core wool, since it's cheap and easy to needle felt. If I used white wool straight away, I'd be here forever. See, it looks like one whole thing now. You might need a lot of wool though. Anyway, we're actually going to put that to one side for a bit so we can start work on the ears. The base of the ears are actually going to be some felt, and then our needle felt wool around it to create a more 3D kind of shape. Doing it this way is going to help keep the length of the ears consistent to what I want them to be. It's important to leave a fluffy, not needle felted bit at the top of the ears. That part is going to make it easier to needle felt onto the head without it leaving any lump. Oh yeah, around this time I decided to turn the head to the other side since I noticed that the cheeks I had crafted on were sticking out. And that actually looked better than it just being flat since it was giving it some definition. It's finally time for some white wool, and it's better to put this on before attaching the ears. This is so you can fully cover them without leaving gaps. This is just personal experience, but needle felting wool into tiny gaps can make it look weird and alter its shape. Anyway, this shouldn't take too long since you've already crafted the base. Just make sure to cover any of the core wool popping out. Mine is sort of a cream colour, which sews up against the white wool. While the ears are separate, I'm going to colour in the head as well. Now back to the ears. Have you noticed that I haven't coloured in the bottom part of this yet? There's actually a grey patch that I need to place here. It can be a bit tricky to needle felt on since there's also some small bumps that I need to needle felt around, and if I needle felt too strong, those bumps will disappear. But I also need to make sure the wool is properly attached, so it can be a bit tricky. This grey wool is actually quite nice since it's got multiple shades of grey in. It kind of makes it look more natural. With all of that, I think we're at the point where we can start attaching the ears. Another reason for using felt at the base of these ears is that I can easily see where the middle of them are, meaning I can easily line both of them up and make sure they're aligned correctly. It won't take too long to attach them. Adding some extra white wool on top here might be a good idea just to make sure it definitely all merges together. Now that the ears are attached, it's a good time to add that second grey spot. It actually goes a bit over the top of the ears, and that would have been hard to align with the head and the ears separate, but now they're together, it's a lot easier. We're on to making these little hair things now. Based on what we've already done, this won't take as long, and it kind of follows the same process we've been doing of using core wool and then layering white wool on top. It can be good just to use a bit more white wool here just to merge the two hair pieces together and make them look like one object. That's the head pretty much done, so let's give this rabbit a face. We're going to start with the eyes, and it's hard to notice but this rabbit has dark blue purplish eyes, so I need to needle felt that colour with felt onto it. We're actually using felt here by the way, since it gives a flat 2D look, and so I can get the same shape multiple times. You don't want to use too much white wool here, since you don't want it to take over the whole eye. If you're unsure of how much to use, it's generally best to start small and build it up. Instead of using wool here, I'm going to use felt, mainly because this is a unique shape, and while I could use wool, it's just easier to use felt. And again, it helps to get a consistent shape, since we're going to have to do this twice. You might be able to see what's going to happen now, but we'll be needle felting these eyes onto the face. It's fairly simple, but just be careful the eyes are in the right place, otherwise it's not going to look right. I try to align it in line with the two little hair thingies at the top. Now this part, I don't like to do. We're making a nose and a mouth, and to do this we need a very thin bit of black wool. The problem with using thin parts is that one wrong poke and that piece of wool can easily be lost, or even fray and break apart. Getting the intricate details done correctly here honestly just takes practice and time. There was no rush to finish this, so I just took it as slow as possible. The pins here helped create a rough guide of where the lines would be going. I even used scissors here to cut the wool, which you're not really supposed to use while needle felting, but I didn't want to poke the wool in too much more. Next up are the cheeks. There's 2 pieces of pink felt are needed for this. It's fairly easy to needle felt on. That's the head done, and the hardest part over. Now we're making a body, and we're back to using core wool. I'll be needing a lot of it this time since I won't be using a pre-made woolly ball. While core wool is easy to needle felt, it still takes a while to get it into the shape I want it to be. As for what kind of shape I'm going for here, it's sort of like a cylinder but with one end being slightly smaller and the other end having more of a curved base. With a rough shape done, we're going to be adding some legs to it. To create all 4 of these legs, we're basically using the same technique, but 2 of the legs need to be slightly bigger. If you think of this rabbit as a silhouette, the 2 back legs stick out to the side, whereas the front 2 legs stick out towards the front. They also slightly curve in a bit. I'm using extra wool here just to help merge the 2 objects together before I put on the white wool. The legs don't look like they're separate from the body. You don't have to do this, but using core wool is all about getting the white shape done first, so I find it best just to sort it out now before I add colour. Not only does this help it gain cute points, I also think it helps it to stand up properly by itself. And it's going to need all the help it can get to stand up properly once I attach the head on. The body I made is slanted towards the top to allow the head to rest on the body. This takes some of the weight off and means this rabbit won't fall flat on its face. You've also got to make sure the head is on super securely. We're nearly done, but it's missing one bit. Can you guess? It's a little blue ribbon. This is fun to do after all of that work, and despite me not tying it like a typical ribbon, it's still quite simple. I just cut out all of the pieces separately and needle felt them together. Ta-da! I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think I'm going to place him next to where I edit my videos. Let me know what you think of this little rabbit.